Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salam ala ashrafil mursaleen Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Tonight I will talk about Islam and health. And I have brought with me this book to confirm some things. It was written by Dr. Cass Ingrams, and it has helped me a lot in da'wah. There is also another book entitled How to Eat Right and Live Longer, also written by Dr. Cass Ingrams. So before I start, I would ask for a volunteer to read some paragraphs which I will refer to in my speech. Who would like to volunteer? Okay. So if you could read from here up to here, and then from here up to here. Yeah.
Greek knowledge in natural medicine was expanded immensely during the Middle Ages by the scientists of Islam. A 14th century herbal catalog written by Ibn Baytar contained over 1,400 entries for food and herbs, with proof of their efficacy as well as a description of how to prepare them. History records that during the entire extent of the Islamic Empire, which ranged from the 8th through 15th centuries, food and herbs were the primary medicines dispensed. In fact, as early as the 9th century AD, Baghdad, the capital of the empire, housed some 60 pharmacies, staffed by pharmacists who dispensed natural medicines by prescription. Incredibly, the use of natural medicines by Islamic physicians spanned fully 700 years. In contrast, modern medicine as practiced in the United States and Europe, with its emphasis on synthetic drugs, is a mere 100 years old. Natural doesn't necessarily imply total safety. After all, mercury, platinum, silver, cyanide, and lead are all natural, but they are inedible and toxic.
This one.
Okay. Therefore, because a substance is natural doesn't mean it is safe, nor does it mean it has positive medicinal actions. For instance, in China, dried lizards are used as medicine. The Chinese grind the lizards and add them as an active ingredient in specific concoctions. No doubt, ground lizard is natural, but it is not a documented medicine and may do more harm than good.
Okay, thank you. So maybe some of you are asking what's the relationship between this and the topic tonight. So I will be explaining that in a minute. And before we go into details, I would like to give the definition of health from WHO, World Health Organization. They say health is the general condition of a person's mind and body, usually meaning to be free from illness, injury, or pain. Illness, injury, or pain. Another definition is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. Physical, mental, and social well-being. So this is the definition of health according to the WHO, World Health Organization. Now, when we go to Islam, the first pillar that brings you to Islam is to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to believe that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is a messenger of God. Now, when they tell you to believe in Allah, we don't think deeper about it. When you believe in Allah, that He's your creator, He's your cherisher, He created you, He loves you, then you only obey Him. Your loyalty goes to Him. You only fear Him. You only expect Him to help you. So whenever you have a problem, you resort to Allah. And this is one of the meanings of Allah. It comes from aliha ilayhi, the one that you resort to when you have problems. So a human being might threaten you, might do this and that, but first of all, time will come when he will die. The threat will no longer happen. Or this person who threatens you, his authority after 2 or 3 days may vanish. So the threat will not go on. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the ever living. He doesn't die. He's ever watching over you. So He's the only one who can help you. Now, if you follow His path, if you believe in Him, it will give you self-confidence. This is why you see Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam in the middle of polytheists. At the beginning of his mission, everyone against him, including his paternal uncle Abu Lahab. But he persisted because he knew Allah was with him. He was following the commandments of Allah. And finally, he was victorious over them because he followed Allah. So he didn't have an army, he didn't have wealth, he didn't have anything. But the message spread. Because of the veracity of the message, his belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is why a Muslim should be proud to say, I am Abdullah, I am a slave and servant of Allah. Actually, we don't find a word that really carries the meaning of Abdullah. If you say a slave of Allah, it has some negative connotation. You are serving him, you don't have any rights. People conjure the meaning of slavery when it happened, when they were brought in, they were not given their wages, no rights, no nothing. They were treated less than animals. So when you say a slave of Allah, it comes to a mind of someone, oh, against slavery. When you say a servant of Allah, when you serve someone, you benefit and he benefits. Sometimes he benefits more than you. So even when we say we serve Allah, this word, we are not actually giving it its real meaning, because Allah does not benefit from our service. So I serve my boss, he benefits. Sometimes he benefits more than me. I serve someone, he takes benefit from that. But when we serve Allah, we are actually serving ourselves. When we worship Allah, we are actually doing ourselves a favor. Allah is not benefiting anything from our worship. So when you compare between being a servant of a human being and being a servant of Allah, first of all, Allah created you. A human being didn't create you. Allah gives you favors. He gives you protection. A human being cannot do that. Allah is always there for you. There's no time. For example, now if you depend on a human being, time will come when he will die. But if you depend on Allah, Allah is there always for you. So when you serve Allah, you are the beneficiary. He doesn't benefit anything. Number two, if you serve a human being, for example, you have a boss, you are working for him. When you want to see him, he will give you some conditions. Oh, I'm busy. If you want to see me, you will see me tomorrow, after tomorrow. So you have to sign a paper to see him. For example, you want to see your president, there is a protocol that you have to follow to see that person. Even it could not happen. Or there are some conditions that you have to follow in order to see that person. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your creator, your cherisher, does not determine when to talk to him. You determine when to talk to him. Every time you want to talk to Allah, you decide the place, you decide the timing, and this is when you pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So anytime you want to talk to him, you perform wudu. Come, just sujood. Allah is there all the time. So you decide. He doesn't decide. No secretary, no nothing, no bodyguards saying, okay, you have to wait. No, anytime he's there for you. So whom should you worship? Whom should you have loyalty with? It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is khaliqul asbab. He's the creator of the reasons of our success. So by merely working hard, this does not guarantee you success. By being a slave to a human being, even if you will to be that, it does not guarantee you success. Everything comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Al-Hadith Al-Qudsi, يَا ابْنَ آدَمْ خَلَقْتُ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ مِّنْ أَجْلِكَ وَخَلَقْتُكَ مِنْ أَجْلِي فَسِرْ فِي طَاعَتِي يُطِعْكَ كُلُّ شَيْءٍ. Son of Adam, I've created everything for you, and I have created you to worship me. So worship me, everything will be easy. So worship is not like we view it in some other religions. According to Islam, al-ibada ismun jami'un likulli ma yuhibbuhu Allahu min al-aqwal wal-af'al al-zahira wal-batina. So it's a collective term, generic term, that includes everything that Allah loves. So whatever you say, whatever you do, whatever you think of, if it pleases Allah, it's ibadah. So you work out, you want to improve your health, it's ibadah. You go to work, you want to fend for yourself and your family, it's ibadah. You enjoy conjugal rights with your spouse, it's ibadah. So everything that you do with the intention of pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it becomes an act of worship, and you are rewarded for that. So when you put this into consideration, so the meaning of Islam comes in. What's the meaning of Islam? It comes from an Arabic word, as-salam. We always talk about salam, peace, 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 but we don't go deep into the definition of this peace. We just concentrate on the shallow meaning of it. So literally, Islam means peace, a religion of peace. In other words, if you submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you do whatever you want, you will enjoy peace. I used to have a friend, he was a professor at Kuwait University. I used to try to do da'wah to him from America. This guy had what we could call phobia. So whenever he took me in his car, giving me a ride, whenever he was on a bridge, he would say, oh, Mr. Hassan, I'm afraid maybe the bridge would collapse. Every time he was in fear. So it's because he doesn't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you all the time. This belief will give you self-honor, self-confidence. You're afraid of no one because you know your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is strong. So because of this belief, you will not allow a slave of Allah like you to look down upon you, to mistreat you. When you walk, you are high, you are proud of your religion. I'll just give you one example. In 1995, I wanted to travel to South Africa to see how things were going over there and to do some da'wah with my friends. Actually, we drove all the way from Uganda to South Africa, crossing about 7 countries. So we went to Zimbabwe, trying to get a visa, and the queue was very, very long. So they told us that you would go at 6 a.m., you would enter into the embassy at around 1 p.m. 6 hours or 7 hours, you are on a queue waiting to get a visa because so many people wanted to immigrate there. Anyway, we went also, we queued up. After about 5 hours, we were told, you know, you cannot get a visa from here because in your country, you have a South African embassy, you have to go back. So we complained. Then they said, okay, you have to see the ambassador, he will be the one to decide. Now, of course, during the apartheid era in South Africa, not all whites were against blacks. Some whites, of course, were against apartheid system. So this guy is a white South African ambassador. He looks at us, your name, Hassan, Ibrahim, all of us are Muslims. And he goes, you know, the most corrupt people in the world are Muslims. Now, my friends were not engaged in da'wah, but I had some experience in da'wah. So when he said this, I forgot about the visa. I forgot about him being an ambassador. He looked small in my eyes because now I have to speak about my religion, something that I treasure, something that Allah has given me. So I looked him straight in his eyes. What do you know, sir, about Islam? I was serious. Then I started giving him information Islam. Finally, he allowed us to get visas without paying a penny. And their system, you had to deposit about $300. So when you come back, you get the money back. So I was adamant in explaining to him what Islam was, and he respected us. So I didn't say, okay, he's an ambassador, yeah, Muslims are corrupt. I didn't do that. Because in this position, I go by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I am sure Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help me no matter what happens. So, Islam, all the acts of worship in Islam that we do, concentrate on 3 things. Your vertical relationship with Allah, your integrity and sincerity, and your relationship with other human beings. So if you profess that you are a good Muslim, you pray 5 times a day, you fast, yet you cheat, you lie, your prayer is null and void. If you claim that you pray, you have a good relationship with Allah, yet you mistreat people whom Allah loves, then your prayer is null and void. So they go hand in hand. Prophet Muhammad was telling his companions, he asked them, do you know, atadruna manil muflis? Do you know who is an insolvent person? They said, oh, someone who used to have money and now he doesn't have money, he is an insolvent person. He said, no, an insolvent person is someone who prays a lot, who fasts, who pays zakah, every good act he does it. But on the day of judgment, when everyone will be taking his account, this man will be found, he mistreated people, he abused people, he discriminated against people. So all those people whom he wronged will flock in front of him. They want recompense. Pay us. You abused me. You backstabbed me. You treated me maliciously. You treated me with injustice. There is no way he will pay them in terms of money. It will be in terms of rewards. So Allah will order the angels to take from his rewards to pay those people. And people, this was a good person praying, but he was mistreating a lot of people. So people will continue coming to him, until his good deeds will be depleted. He has nothing. Then they have their rights. They still claim a lot of things. So what will happen is their sins will be taken from them. They will be cast on him, and he will go to hellfire. So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to warn his companions about, so if you really love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it should have an effect on you. It should transform you. It should make you a better person. It's, the acts that we do in Islam are not just ritualistic acts without any meaning. Take for example, when we pray. After we finish the prayer, we say, Assalamu alaikum. You turn to your right. Assalamu alaikum. You turn to your left. What does it mean? It means look at your brother who prayed on your right side. Introduce yourself to him. Get to know him. So we're creating some sort of fraternity in the mosque. So during the other prayer, if you don't see him, you'll be concerned about him. Where did he go? Maybe something bad happened to him. Maybe he has a problem. We need to help. Do we do that? No. Nowadays, prayer is mechanical. Just pray. According to the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when we pray, shoulder to shoulder, your shoulder should be to show the brotherhood that we are together. Sometimes some people, you want to keep your shoulder near to him, you just feel he doesn't want to touch your shoulder. So he feels he's superior to you, or maybe you have some diseases, you're going to infect him. This is not the spirit of prayer. So all the acts of worship concentrate on three things. And all the rules that came in Islamic Sharia, all the rules also concentrate on three things. We have what we call al-hajiyat, the necessities of life, like food, drinks. Then we have tahsinat, beautification, like trim your nails, trim your nails, trim your hair, your beard, your armpit hair. So these are called tahsinat, things that when you do, they beautify yourself. But again, if we go deep into them, they help us to maintain good health or to improve our health. So even before I continue, I will talk about these things. There is a hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in which he says, عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم خمس من الفطرة. So 5 things are from the nature. People have to make sure they do them, they perform them, because these they will maintain their health or they will improve their health. Al-khitan, circumcision. A Muslim has to be circumcised. And now we know in so many countries where people are affected with AIDS, some doctors unanimously have said that people who are circumcised are less susceptible to suffer from AIDS than those who are not circumcised. That's one. Number 2, I have had live experiences whereby a woman, German woman, was married to a German man who was not circumcised, and then she married a Muslim who was circumcised. We have a kid, I can't go into details, but she said there was a very huge difference in terms of conjugal rights. So she preferred a circumcised man to a man who wasn't. So this is a hadith of Prophet, al-khitan wal istihdad, to shave your pubic hair. Waqassu, also I have some stories about this, but I can't go into details. Waqassu sharib, to trim mustache. Wa taqlim al-adhafir, trim the nails, fingernails. So imagine someone has long nails and then he doesn't clean them nicely and he eats with his hand. What will happen? Taqlim al-adhafir. Wa natf al-ibt, and to pluck your armpit hair. Muttafaqun alayh. This is hadith sahih. Bukhari, Muslim, all agreed upon it. So this comes into tahsinat. Tahsinat means beautifying yourself. But it's more than that. I have read some researches about it, that all these things, if you maintain them, they are good for your health. So 3 things. We have hajiyat, needs, food, drinks. We have tahsinat, and we have daruriyat, necessities. And now before I go to the daruriyat, I would like my brother Yusuf again to read some paragraphs. Yeah, from here up to here. Just up to here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nutrients
And from this is.
okay.
Mhm.
This is because the medical profession often neglects to address the fact that heart disease is directly related to diet as well as alcohol consumption and cigarette smoking. Stress is also a significant factor. In other words, heart disease is caused primarily by the way we live, and the diet is the number one factor. Recently, alcoholic beverages have become in vogue as sort of a cure for heart disease. This philosophy has been promoted heavily by the industry as well as the medical establishment. Yet, there is not a shred of evidence proving curative effects. However, the idea is based upon the fact that in Europe, where much wine is drunk, there is a lower incidence of heart disease. Indeed, alcohol causes a variety of heart disorders, including coronary artery disease, atherosclerosis, hardening of the arteries, cardiac arrhythmia, and cardiomyopathy, the latter being described as degeneration of the heart muscle. Call it what you want, alcohol is not a health food.
Okay, thank you. Alcohol is not a healthy food. And actually, in another book, he talks extensively. Even he's not of the idea of drinking even half a glass. Because I have a lady from Canada who came to me and said, you know, Mr. Hassan, I agree with everything that Islam talks about, but I don't agree with the prohibition of alcohol. I think if I stay at home, drink half a glass, I don't harm anyone, I'm okay. I showed her the other book where he was talking about how intoxication begins. In a social setting, you go together, you begin with quarter glass of wine, tomorrow it's half, after tomorrow is a glass, so it goes on and on. So Dr. Cass Ingram says you avoid it, does not help your health in any way. And it's also one of the reasons of the spread of hepatitis B and C. He speaks about America and some other diseases. So what I'm trying to say is we have hajiyat, food and drinks, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed to us what we should eat and what we shouldn't eat. Now this book talks about different fruits. All of them are halal in Islam. There is nothing that he talked about which is not halal. In other words, if everything which Allah has allowed us to eat, it has medicinal purposes. It's a medicine and it helps your body. First of all, your body is not your property. This is a trust of Allah that He has given you. So He's the one who has to guide you on how to keep this trust. You can't keep it on your own way. This is why even suicide is not allowed, because it's your body, you don't own it. This is a trust from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The more you keep it fit, the more Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you. So we have food, and actually there's a brother who made it, he made a comment, many people laughed. He said, in Islam, in Arabic, when you say halal, you open your mouth. You can eat it. When you say haram, you close your mouth. You cannot eat it. So even linguistically, when you say haram, it's different. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-An'am, He says, وَيُحِلُّ لَهُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَيُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ. So good food is called tayyib and bad food is called khabith. Now let's go into the meanings and connotations of this word. Tayyib is one word, it has more than 10 connotations. Khabith is one word, it has more than 10 connotations. Tayyib means good, pleasant, agreeable, beautiful, nice, delicious, tasty, good, nutritious, palatable, good-natured, kind, gentle, generous, kind-hearted, just, you name it. So everything that Allah has allowed us to eat, it's nutritious. It helps you. It boosts your health. It's nice, appealing to you. So for example, ask someone who has ever drunk wine. How does he feel when he's sipping it? Sometimes they close their eyes because it's not tasty. They just struggle to swallow the wine. Okay? So something you drink when it's struggling, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it haram. Even it's difficult to eat it. On the other side, khabith means malicious, malignant, malevolent, spiteful, wicked, evil-minded, foxy, notorious, harmful, injurious, foul, dangerous, offensive, repugnant, odious, evil. So in other words, if you drink alcohol, it's dangerous for your health. it's harmful to you. It does not benefit you in any way. So ask anyone who has done extensive research, whatever Allah has prohibited, if it has any medicinal purposes, never. So what Allah has allowed us to eat and drink, it's good for our health. We enjoy it. We actually, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there is a time when he was given a gift of a dark lizard. I wanted to bring a picture for you to see it, but I couldn't. I think you're familiar with it, dark lizard. It's called bob in Islam, big lizard. So it was brought to him to eat. And he used to ask, whenever someone brought food to him, he would ask, what is it? They described it to him. So he said, Inni a'afu. I feel disgusted by it. I cannot eat it. It's not haram, but I feel disgusted. So another companion ate it. So sometimes when something is appealing to you, you eat it. So mostly everything that Allah has allowed us to eat, it's appealing, it's nutritious. So this is to show you that all the commandments of Islam, all of them, they play a big role to boost our health if you follow them properly. And all the prohibitions, they destroy our health. So if you follow the commandments of Allah and understand the meaning properly, you will be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have hajiyat, food, drinks, tahsinat, beautification, trimming hair, as we said, beard, and we have daruriyat. So all the rules and regulations of Islam came to protect 5 things. Your religion, and we can go into details to say it's your freedom of choice. Because even if you're not a Muslim, we're not allowed to, we shouldn't force you to become Muslims. La ikraha fi din. There is no compulsion in religion. So Islam came to protect freedom of thought. It came to protect religion. No one should tamper with your freedom of choice. No one should force you to do things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminded Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said, Innama anta mudhakkir. You're just a reminder. You came to remind them about worshipping me. Lasta alayhim bimusaytir. You cannot conquer them or force them to worship me. So it comes from within. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to force everyone to worship him, but it doesn't make a meaning. He wants you to exercise your free will, so that if you use it well, you will be rewarded for that. Some people who did not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, they will come to him, they'll say, oh Allah, I helped a lot of people, I did this and that. Allah will ask them a question, did you do it because of me? They'll say no. For any purpose you did it, you got it. You wanted to become famous, you became famous. So I have not treated you with injustice. It's according to your intention that you get rewarded. If you do it because of me, I will reward you. If you don't do it because of me, why should I reward you? It's like Muhammad, you are out there, don't know anything, someone comes and cleans this whole building. You didn't order him to do that, he's not your friend, and he comes to you and say, pay me. Do you pay him? No, because he didn't do it. You didn't ask him to do that. Or even if he does it, he didn't do it because of you. He doesn't believe in you, he doesn't trust you, he's not your friend. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards you according to your belief. So Islam came to protect your deen, ad-deen, and nafs, yourself. Now when we say nafs, it's one word again, it has many connotations. It means psyche, it means mind, it means body, it means soul. So Islam came to protect the whole of you. No one is allowed to kill you. No one is allowed to mistreat you, unless there are some situations where it's allowed, but not everyone should do that. There are procedures. If someone kills, is killed, but there are procedures that have to go on. So your religion, your life, I could say your life, your body, your mind, your psyche, wal mal, your wealth. So something that you've been toiling for years to acquire, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has helped you to get you. No one has the right to come and take it from you unjustly. This is why even when we talk about these things, not only for Muslims, for all human beings. So these 5 things are protected by Muslims to make sure that even non-Muslims don't get their rights violated. So this is why Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all of you know, people of Mecca took him as an enemy. They were determined to kill him. They surrounded his house. He was able to escape. But what did he do? And it's ironic because They used to say that he's a crazy person, he's a black magician, he's a poet. They used to call him names. But when the issue came to money, cash, because they didn't have banks, they would deposit their money and belongings with him. So this is a person whom you're always abusing, whom you're always saying that he's crazy. So why are you depositing your money with him? If you know someone is crazy, can you deposit your money with him that you've been toiling for a long time? Now, if it's me and someone else, you want to kill me, I have your property, I will take it, or I'll go with it. I want to punish you because he wanted to kill me, I'm justified to do that. But did he do that? No. He left Ali radiallahu anhu to sleep on his bed. And one of the reasons was to give them back their property. So because he knows Islam is about protecting the wealth of the people, whether they are your friends or foes, you have to protect these 5 things. Then we have honor, sharaf. We're not allowed to scandal monger anyone, raping anyone's wife. Anything that will tarnish someone's honor is not allowed in Islam. And there are a lot of regulations about that. Even you're not allowed to reveal someone's secret. So all this is to protect the honor and dignity of a human being. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. We've honored the children of Adam. So he didn't say only Muslims. Everyone who is a human being is honored by Allah. So we have to protect his honor. We don't have to defame him, tarnish his reputation. We are not allowed to do that. And then an-nasl, lineage, children, grandchildren. So Islam came to protect all these, whether you are a Muslim or not. So if you look into the regulations of Islam deeply, you'll find that all these things are protected by Islam. So if we follow these commandments, then it will boost our relationship with people. As WHO, they say, part of health is to have good relationship with people. People you can talk to, people you can relate with. Because why do people want to wear good clothes? One of the reasons is to impress their friends. So you can't be alone in an island where no one will see you and do good deeds, and you will not enjoy life. You need people around you, whether they are good or bad. You need people to be with you. And this is very important for our social growth. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, in a hadith that was narrated by Abdullah ibn Umar, says, المسلم المؤمن الذي يخالط الناس ويصبر على أذاهم خير من المؤمن الذي لا يخالط الناس ولا يصبر على أذاهم. صححه الألباني. So he says, a believer who interacts with people, they annoy him, they harm him, but still he interacts with them, is better than a believer who does not interact with people. So he wants us to enjoy social relations. So maybe people look down upon you because of your religion, because of your virtue. Time will come when they will realize your worth. And that time they will change their attitude about you. They will love you forever. So there is a psychologist who say that the truth at the beginning is rejected, then ridiculed, then questioned, then finally it's accepted. So there are levels where truth goes on, the truth passes through. So you don't have to give up. So you can't say because people are not good, they always backbite others, I will stay alone. Islam says no, you have to interact with the people. But you have to enjoy social relations with them. This will boost your health. It will help you. I have met with so many people, non-Muslims, who told me that they have problems, but when they are in a group of positive, energetic people, they feel motivated. So they like it to be with positive people, rather than going to a group of people, everyone is complaining, life is not easy, everyone. So you feel also this negative energy saps your health. So you need to be with people who are always positive. Therefore, when we talk about Islam as a religion of peace, it concentrates on 4 things. Your mind, body, soul, and emotions. According to the definition of WHO, good mind, body. So Islam concentrates on all these 4 things. And it has given us instructions. For example, the first verses to be revealed in the Quran were اقرأ بسم ربك الذي خلق. Read by the name of Allah who has created. Because when you read, you feel peaceful. Everything is clear to do, clear for you. Whatever you do, you know what you're doing. No one will capitalize on your ignorance to use it for his own vested interests. There is someone who gave a lecture about his experience going to the South Pole, and he said his expedition was among the few that were able to make it to the South Pole. And he said before going on this expedition, he did an extensive research that took him 6 years doing a research. And part of this research was, why didn't other expeditions make it to the South Pole? So he summed up everything from his research and said the reasons why so many expeditions were not able to make it to the South Pole were summarized into 3 vices. The first one is ignorance. So we have the money, we have the equipment, that's it. 3, complacency. So they feel they know, they don't like to know. You know, the more you read, the more you feel you don't know. So Islam says you have to read, and it's part of religion. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says seeking knowledge is compulsory. Not only knowledge about Islam, Al-Ghazali classified knowledge into 3 categories. He says, Al-ilmu al-mahmudu kulluhu, wal-mahmudu julluhu, wal-madhmumu kulluhu. So knowledge, according to Al-Ghazali, is divided into 3 categories. The first one is the whole of it is good, laudable. This is the knowledge about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His unity, our creator, our Lord, our cherisher, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So this is the best knowledge. Then the second one comes knowledge about medicine, engineering. But he says, especially in the knowledge about medicine, there are some ideas that contradict with the teachings of Islam. For example, mercy killing. According to Islam, you're not allowed to kill anyone, even if there is no medicine. So if you avoid these practices or theories that go against Islam, you are on a safe side. So you're also worshipping Allah if in the first place you did it for the sake of Allah to serve humanity. Even scholars have said that if you are in an environment as Muslims and you don't have one single Muslim doctor, then it's compulsory for all the community to support someone to become a doctor. So it becomes compulsory because we need someone who will be treating Muslims. We need someone who will be treating Muslim females. Actually, I had a story, I don't know if some of you have heard about it, that in one of the countries, I don't want to mention names, fire gutted in a high school of girls. And they did not allow male firefighters to go and rescue the girls. It ended up killing about 700 girls. So if you don't want male firefighters to come and rescue the girls, train women or import women to do that. There should be an alternative. So such things are not accepted in Islam, because according to all the laws of Islam, your life is more sacrosanct than anything. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says, destroying the Kaaba. Imagine someone going with a pickaxe to Mecca and starts destroying Kaaba. This is lesser in gravity than killing a Muslim. So Muslim's life is better than even the Kaaba. So the point is knowledge. We have to seek knowledge. And actually there is a joke that I always make about knowledge. I hope, Muhammad, you don't record it. It's just a joke, by the way. There was a meeting somewhere between former President of the US, Bill Clinton, former Prime Minister of Japan, Yoshiro Mori, and former President of Egypt, Hosni Mubarak. They were discussing the peace process in the Middle East. So as the discussions went on, Bill Clinton took out a pen like this and started talking. They asked him, what are you doing? He said, I'm communicating to Washington, D.C., what's happening here. So apparently he had a telephone device in the pen. The Prime Minister of Japan said we are equally technologically advanced. He took out a piece of metal and started speaking in Japanese. They asked him, what are you doing? He said, I'm communicating to Japan, what's happening here. So the President of Egypt didn't have any technology to show. He was embarrassed. What he did, he took out a piece of paper and started chewing it. They said, what are you doing? He said, I'm sending fax to Cairo, informing them what's happening here. So he was so embarrassed because he did not follow the commandments of Islam on how to seek knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Hadith al-Qudsi, He created everything for us. How are we going to make benefit from His natural resources if we are not educated, if we don't learn? How are we going to communicate with one another if we don't learn? Even when you're doing da'wah, you have to learn the techniques of doing it. You have to learn about your opponent. How does he think? How is his culture, educational status? There are a lot of things. And actually, again, I have one example about this. There's a man who traveled all the way from Oman to Kenya. He wanted to talk to the tribal people over there, the Maasai, who are still in jungles up to now, and they still stick to their traditions. So he thought that these people have been neglected, no one is doing da'wah to them. He had good intentions, right? Again, as we always say in al-ihsan fil qasd bi tahdhibihi ilman wa ibramihi azman wa tasfiyatihi hala. So intention is not enough. This intention should be adorned and embellished with knowledge. So you have intention to do something, seek knowledge about it. Even now they tell us, if you want to go for an interview for a job, try to make a research about that organization. Know about them. Give them an impression that you know about them. This will change somehow the results of that interview. So learning. Now this person had good intentions, but he did not beautify his intention with knowledge. He had determination, and of course he had good intentions, but the problem was knowledge about the host culture. So after Salat al-Dhuhr, they introduced him to the people. You know, we have a visitor, he came from Oman, it's a country near Mecca, he came to talk to us about Islam. Please stand up and greet the guest. So they stand up to shake hands with him or to hug him. Now what he did, he started kissing them on the cheeks. Because in the Gulf, if you like someone, you want to show that you warmly welcome him, you kiss him on the cheeks. According to them, kissing within gender on the cheeks is a sign of homosexuality. All of them ran out from the mosque. They left him alone. So he did not achieve his goal of doing da'wah to these people. Besides, he tarnished his reputation and the reputation of the country. Why? Because he did not do a research about those people that he wanted to do da'wah on. So knowledge is very important in all aspects. So if you achieve this knowledge, it will teach you how to take care of yourself, how to take care of your hygiene, how to become healthy. Sometimes you see children suffer from diseases because negligence of the mothers. They don't seek knowledge about how to take care of the babies. So knowledge is very important. So if you seek this knowledge and you implement, you know, seeking knowledge is something and implementing it is something else. So whatever knowledge you get, implement it on yourself before other people. So if you do that, you will lead a healthy life. Also intoxicants, as we said, alcohol and whichever is haram in Islam, because one of the most precious blessings that Allah has given us is the mind. So anything that defogs the mind is not allowed in Islam. And you see, this is a non-Muslim. He has written books about alcohol, that there is no good in it. So Islam says avoid it. Avoid it, even one dot of it. Don't drink it. It does not help you. So you should be sane all the time. This again will help you improve your life. There was a study that was done in one of the African countries which concluded that many people contrived HIV/AIDS because of alcoholism. So he's drunk, he goes over there, he sleeps with, and then he gets HIV because of alcohol. So a Muslim has to be sane all the time. You have to appreciate Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the brain that He has given you. Use it for good purposes. Use it for improving yourself and the community around you. Then we have body. We have to perform physical exercises. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Al-mu'minu al-qawiyyu khayrun wa ahabbu ila Allahi min al-mu'min al-dha'if wa fi kullin khayr." A strong believer is better and beloved to Allah to a weak believer, and in both of them there is good. So preference strong believer. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to perform exercises. He used to encourage his wife Aisha to perform exercises with him, and sometimes he would let her win him so that she becomes motivated. You know, sometimes when you compete with your wife and you always win, she will lose, but no, you always, but let her win one day, twice, then she will be motivated again to go. This is a way. For example, sometimes I play with him, I let him win me so that, Papa, I won you, he becomes happy. Next time he wants to play. But if you win him all the time, he will lose motivation. So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to do it. And to show that he was really, really physically strong, two stories. One of them, there was a man called Rikana ibn Abd Yazid. Rikana was the strongest wrestler in Arabia during his time in the Arabian Peninsula. No one would dare fight against Rikana. It was like Hulk Hogan. I don't know who is now the strongest wrestler in the US. So one day Prophet Muhammad ﷺ meets with Rikana, and he tells him, why don't you realize Allah, who has given you this strength by which you can win people in wrestling? Rikana says, I don't know of the God you're talking about. I don't realize it. The strength that I have is by virtue of my own training, my efforts. I don't know about your God. Arrogantly. So the Prophet said, if I wrestle against you and win you, will you believe in my God? So of course, it's like, as we said, Hulk Hogan with someone thin or someone whom he looks down upon. So Rikana would not expect it. The Prophet ﷺ wrestled him on the ground 3 times until Rikana believed that this man is not a natural person. He became a Muslim. Umar ibn al-Khattab, I think I've heard about this story, when he wanted to go and become a Muslim, so Hamza ibn Abdul Muttalib opens the door and he sees Umar brandishing his sword. And Hamza tells Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to hide. Then the Prophet says, no, I cannot hide. You should hide. Hamza says, he will kill you the way I see him. He's not in good mood. He's about to do shar. Prophet Muhammad says, no, you are the one who should hide. I'm not going to hide. So the Prophet opened the door and started pressing Umar by the shoulders. Ama an al-awan an tuslim, isn't it time for you to become a Muslim? He pressed Umar so hard until Umar knelt down. And Umar was among the strongest people in Mecca. Some traditions say that he was about 6 meters tall and 1.5 meters wide. So he was very huge. Even when he went on Hijrah to Medina, some companions used to go hiding. But for him, he went public. He went to the Kaaba. In front of all the polytheists, said, Man arada an tufqidahu ummahu falyatba'ni. Anyone who wants his mother to lose him, let him follow me. No one dared to follow him. So this is the person that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ pressed hard. But now, Muslims, if you see Muslims, okay, not all Muslims, but in some countries, if you see Muslims jogging in some parks or walking, 99.9% are doing it as a result of a prescription from a doctor. Maybe suffering from diabetes, something. So the doctor advised him to do it. This is why he's doing it. But voluntarily, because it's part of Islam, doing it, a few do it. This is why one of the Americans, I was doing dawah to him, he was in the military, and when I was talking about performing exercises, he said he has seen in some countries some police officers with big bellies, they cannot even drive the car. So the belly touches the steering. So this is part of health, to maintain your health by performing physical exercises, to work out, improving your health and your hygiene. Also to eat nutritious food. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says, "Ihris ala ma yanfa'uk." Always be keen to do things that will benefit you. If something doesn't benefit you, don't do it. So if it benefits your health, it benefits your community, it benefits your family, do it. So even if it's the food that you are eating, ask, what am I going to benefit from this type of food? If it's not nutritious, if it doesn't help your health, don't eat it. Number 3, don't harm people, because if you harm someone, he will reciprocate. Even if he doesn't, you will be in fear, haunted by theories that this person maybe will come to me tomorrow or after tomorrow. So stay peaceful with people and you will enjoy your life. So this is body, mind, body, soul. In many industrialized countries, research has confirmed that many people are suffering from mental diseases more than developing countries. Why? Because they don't have spiritual peace. So they are materialistic. Everything to them is money, wealth. That's it. Nothing else apart from that. So if this person was making $1,000 per day and the recession happens, he starts making 200, 300, he loses 20 kilos of his weight. He thinks this is the end of the world. Someone has problems with his wife, she divorces him, he commits suicide. This is the end of the world, because they don't have this spiritual peace. As a Muslim, when you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know that He is there for you. If any catastrophe happens to you, you ask yourself a couple of questions. Did I do anything wrong? Did I harm anyone? Didn't I follow any of the commandments of God Almighty? If you didn't do any of these, then you're sure that Allah is testing your faith, because He's not going to leave you to profess that you believe without any test. If worse comes to worse, ask yourself, am I better than Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, who suffered the whole life? Prophet before him, Ayub, who suffered from leprosy for around 13 years and his people abandoned him. Am I better than those prophets and messengers of Allah? They were so beloved to Allah, but yet they got a lot of problems. Sometimes a problem or an affliction that comes to you, it's a wake-up call for you. Or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to avert a bigger problem. For example, someone has been in Kuwait for 5 years, He wants to travel back to his country. He has a fiancée over there. He wants to marry her, and she's always calling him. He decides to go. He books a ticket. So you go to the airport, you go to the counter showing you a ticket. You want to get a boarding pass. They tell you you cannot travel because you didn't pay your installments with Al-Ghanim. Oh, but it's only 100 KD, I can pay. No, 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 you have to go back and pay. So you lose morale, you become upset, you start abusing and cursing everyone. But guess what? When you get back home, switch on TV, you hear news, Boeing 747 that was flying to America has crashed in the territories of Holland, and all the crew members and passengers have died. No any reason has been established as to why the crash happened. So you say, thank God I didn't go. So at the beginning, it was a catastrophe because they told you can't go. But now, after learning there was a plane crash, you say, thank God. So some things happen to our benefit. So a believer, whatever comes to him, it's good. This is why in the Quran, فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. The word usr, which is tribulation, affliction, problems, the word yusr is mentioned only 12 times in the Quran. And the word yusr, relief, leeway, way out, is mentioned 36 times. So scholars say for every usr, you have 3 yusr. In other words, for one problem, you have 3 solutions from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you should continue believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even when we are doing da'wah, we shouldn't wait for charitable organizations to appreciate our work. We are doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah will reward us. I have live examples. For example, in my area where I'm from, we wanted to build a mosque. And we invited the president to give a keynote speech, and we're trying to do fundraising for the mosque. So the president is not a Muslim, but he said words which are very useful. He said, always Muslims in some countries, especially poor countries, whenever they want to build a school, an Islamic school or a mosque, they go to Arab countries, Gulf countries to seek help. He said, before they discovered oil, did they come to you to ask you for help to build mosques in their countries? Number 2, even if they give you the money to build the mosque, who will get the rewards, you or them? This is a non-Muslim. So the Muslim said, yeah, we should do it for the sake of Allah. And by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the mosque is full, and it's one of the beautiful mosques. So if you do it for the sake of Allah, not looking for anyone to appreciate your work or to reward you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open doors for success in this life and in the hereafter. So you need only to believe in Him, trust Him, follow His commandments, and everything will open up. So you will lead a healthy life, no mental diseases, no Alzheimer's, no anything, because you truly believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you are not expecting mere human beings to reward you for whatever you do. Whatever you do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't know if I still have time, Muhammad, but maybe we can complete the other time.
We almost 1 hour completed, but
Yeah.
if you can conclude in 5 minutes, inshallah.
In 5 minutes. Yeah, actually the words that I wanted to say are connected to one another. Maybe we can talk about in the another time. Anyway, concluding the topic is, Allah is our creator. It's like the manufacturer of a car. When you buy a car, they give you instructions. You have to fill it with super, not premium. So if it's petrol, if it's oil. So you follow because you love your car. You expended a lot of money for that car. So you trust this manufacturer because he's the one who made the car. So what about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. With Allah there are the best examples. He created us. He knows what's good for us. And whatever He commands us to do, it's to our benefit. He benefits nothing. So if we follow His commandments and we're sincere to Him, we do everything for His sake, we will lead a good life here and in the hereafter. For example, Abdurrahman ibn Auf. Abdurrahman ibn Auf was among the clever businessmen, skilled businessmen in Mecca. So when people, as you know, immigrated from Mecca to Medina, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was pairing them, one Muhajir with Ansari, so that they help one another. So the Ansar, some of them would give half of their money to the Muhajirin to start up their life. Some of them would divorce. If someone had, for example, 4 wives, he would divorce 2 and ask his brother to marry them. In any case, Abdurrahman ibn Auf, when he was paired with Al-Ansari, a person from Medina. This person asked him, do you want half of my wealth? I know you are a skilled businessman. Take it and start up a business. Abdurrahman said, Dullani ala suq wa abqi laka malak. Show me the marketplace. I don't need your money. Just let me go to the market. He did not get any penny from anyone. He used his skills. He was among the most successful businessmen in Medina. There is a time when he brought a caravan of 700 camels loaded with goods from Syria. And you know that time they would travel from Medina to Syria 1 month on the way and 1 month coming back. So when the caravan came, all the people in Medina were talking about this person, that he's going to earn a lot of money. He's brought goods that no one has in this city. And he told his companions, his friends, that because he used to give everything for the sake of Allah, he was so blessed that he would hold sand in his hand and it would turn into gold. So figurative of a lot of blessings that he had, that whatever he did, he would reap a lot of benefits because of the blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you use the wealth of Allah in the way that Allah loves, He will bless you with more here and in the hereafter, even more than that. So I'd like to end with this, and next time, inshallah, when we meet, we can continue.